Hey guys, Chin Graves here, doing another Manga Vault video for you guys. Um, so get ready for it. I have the box right here, but it's kind of behind me, so I have to turn around a little bit for it. So don't be upset about that. But you may miss my beautiful face for a little while, just a few seconds here and there. But anyway, let's get into it. So I've brought this one up before. This is one that I really enjoy the series, but at the end they sped it up way too fast. And it was one of those where they had to cover, I think the one I told you guys was another Manga Vault one, and it was Loan, Loan, about a Kyuubi's tails, or a fox's tails, nine-tailed fox's tails, and them losing it. Well, this one, they're trying to find, I think it's parts of a tree, and it's this guy's power. Well, they end up like fighting 3 or 4 people for him, and the last 3 or 4 actually are all gathered together automatically, and they have to figure out what to do, and it's the last fight scene and everything. Hate when series do that. If they're on a nice pace roll and they're going to get done, and you could shorten the story a little bit and still move forward with it, I don't understand why you shouldn't or couldn't. But I hate when companies tell their mangaka you have to speed up your story so much that the rest of this basically has to turn into trash. So I love this series. It is a great series, but that is one thing that kind of ruined it for me. And yeah, I mean, I feel like that ruins a lot of series for me. But anyway, this is Kuro Zakuro. Really good. I love the art for this one as well. And there's a lot of different characters that are in this that this is a really good series. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired. Usually I wouldn't be, because I usually film a lot of my stuff at night anyway. But me and different people in my family have been a little sick. And that's kind of what's getting at me right now. So so this was that. I also want to show you guys the back side of this one. This person also did another series, which I remember it, just because it had a character with a long sword on the cover and kind of the same sharp teeth as this main character. Togari. They did Togari, and they also did Batman and the Death Mask. So, right there. It's another thing. I love seeing that. If a person has done another series, I always like seeing it so I can track it down. Togari, I think, is a really hard one to find. So, I haven't gotten to read that one, but I know the art for it and everything very well, and it does relate to this one very much. Let's see. I'm going to have to find the rest of these ones in different places. So I'll just hold off on that one. But we do have this one. This is they call it like the Ruby Anthology. Really good. I do have this one wrapped up if it looks super shiny. Yeah, this one's based on Rooster Teeth. This is one I watched, and my brother thought it was so funny that I started liking it. That for a while, every year, he was buying me a season for my birthday or Christmas, because they're like right there together. So it was really funny that he would do that. And then we have this one too, which I love this idea that they did with these ones. So I'll show you guys the sides, and show you each one individually. So you have these, and then it actually goes into each individual character. So you have Ruby, like it says, red like roses. All new stories featuring Ruby Rose. So that kind of sounds like a wrestler name. Then we have the one for Wise. This one is Mirror Mirror. And like I said before, this is all new stories with Wise in it, right there. Then obviously we have Blake. This one's From the Shadows. Blake's on it as well there. I don't think I showed you guys the front of this one. There you go. And then Yang is this one, and hers is just called I Burn. It's kind of weird thinking about how her and Ruby are supposed to be sisters, and yet like there's so much different about them because of like the names aren't together or anything like that. So, but anyway, then let's see. We do have a couple other ones in here that goes with that series. We'll get to that one eventually, I promise. I have one part. Let me see if I can find the other one for this, guys. At this rate, we might actually get the other one for this series I'm stacking over here before we get the rest of this other one. And I think that is what is going to happen. That is what happened. Okay, so this one is a pretty good one. The anime goes a little different from this series, so it is a little weird. I did read this one and watch the anime all together with it. And some stuff happens that is way different. You know, obviously they changed something up to complement the anime more. And I think after reading the manga that the anime kind of ruined itself by doing that. But this is Dance in the Vampire Bun. And this is a pretty good series. I just feel like they kind of go into that whole aspect of lolly and stuff a little too much into it. And it's kind of fine understanding, because I do feel like they do incorporate enough where you do know that the main character is actually like conserving her power. But I don't think that they understood, like, hey, there's a little bit more you can do to change that up. Which I feel like this mangaka is pretty cool, just because they do kind of branch out a little more. I feel like they are that one mangaka that's kind of like, I'll do it my way. I'm not gonna go by any rules. So I do kind of respect that about them, even though they do have the whole lolly thing in this one. But they do have another series where they have nudity and semi-sex scenes and stuff like that into it. But there you go. And this is another one I mentioned too, guys. I'll show y'all. Where the last one you can clearly tell it's thicker. So and the only bad thing about that series is there's more. There's like Dev into the Vampire Bun, there's Dance in the Vampire Bun, Hammer of Sledge or Sledgehammer. There's a couple other ones, and that's the only one I own. So I don't own like part 2, and I don't own more than that. So I am a little upset that I don't have more of it, because I wanted to try and finish it up, but with the side story parts and all the extra stuff, but I will just have to find those later. So, not really too big of a thing, but I would like to get those at some point. So here's this one. This is a great story for only being 3 volumes. If you have not read this, highly recommend you pick it up. This is Love and Hell. Super good one. Basically, a guy gets sent to hell, and a demon is your torturer. You can make money a few different ways. You can make money by either getting into a trade that you sell stuff or whatever, which there's not really a lot of stuff because all the demons already have those, and you don't get paid as much. Or you have you get paid for being tortured, and that is just a hilarious aspect, because one of the guys is like, there's nothing I can really do, what can I do? Somebody gives him some clothes for like cheap. I think they give them to him for free, which is like boxers with hearts on it. And then he has to work to eat, and his demon tries to like help him out by doing it, so they don't do like anything super extreme. But it's just crazy. And then we have this one, which is Love and Hell, Death Life. This is like a second parter. It's based on a totally different demon. You do get to see some of the other demons reoccurring come out later on, and the characters for it is really cool, even though it is obviously about hell. The love and hell part is really good because they get to find somebody even though they're still in hell. So I think it is hilarious, super hilarious. Okay, we have this one. This is Godera Sora Nagihara. This one is by Yen Press. Guys, I'm just going to tell you this. If you're somebody that likes really raunchy stuff, get this series. I didn't know this series was going to be as raunchy as it was, which at times was kind of scary with it, just because of all the different stuff that happens. You know, I thought it was just going to be your own run-of-the-mill, hey, this is happening kind of thing. Not, this was really going to happen. It's one of those that, when, like I mentioned with Ekin before, they try to make it seem like sex is happening when it's not. In this one, there's a lot of different stuff. The girl has like a little go-gurt thing and accidentally squeezes it, and it comes out looking like the guy did something. She ties the water hose around him, like, you know, where it's put exactly where it needs to be for to look like certain things are going on. I mean, just a lot of different stuff. It was a series I thought was really hilarious to read, but some of that stuff I felt like was just a little extreme because it was just kind of all over the place with that humor. So, let's see. Then we have this one. This is one, me and Otaku Mike have played part of these games before. This is Senran Kagura Skirting Shadows. This is kind of like my first know-how into the Senran Kagura series. I didn't really know anything about it. My brother's actually played this too with me. This is his best girl right here on the cover. And there's so much. I think there's like 4 or 5 schools that are in it, and this only covers like 2 of them. So whenever I played the video game, I was like, "What is all this? I don't know any of these other people." So I thought that was really cool playing it and getting to know them a little better. It makes me want to watch the anime so I can know the characters a lot better. But I've never, besides the video game, I've never done anything else besides that. Knowing from that, which was just this year, even though I read that last year. So then we have this. This is Don't Meddle with My Daughter. On the bottom, same person that wrote Dance in the Vampire Bun. This is that one I said kind of gets into more explicit sex scenes and stuff. It is a big comedy one, but it is also like borderline hentai. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. It is one that I feel like takes a lot of liberties on certain things, and it is just, the humor is really good, but while certain things happen, I feel like it is really weird, especially some of the twists and turns. If I remember right, I think there is a part where you find out something and you're like, that's incest, you know, like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in that one, and there's just a lot of different crazy things that happen. It is a fun read, I will give you that, but it's not going to be for everybody, and it is situational. So, but it is pretty funny. It's kind of like if you got into Wonder Woman having like a part-time hentai while still sticking to her storyline and stuff like that, you know. And I know certain things like that have happened, but not in a comical way like this. So, let's see. We also have this. It's another one that I totally enjoy. Leave It to Pet. Leave It to Pet is hilarious. It is all about recycling, and they actually are robots. And the robots try to basically keep everything clean, do all this other stuff, and get their jobs done. And usually that's because, or it takes the form of helping out one of the kids. So it is funny. Pet's actually like, let me see if I can show you again. Pet's actually like a water bottle or something. Yeah, see, he's like a little juice jug. And then she's a Coke. And everybody else is just like something else. So it is very funny. It is a very cute book. And it is one, like, when I was reading it, I super loved it. Even though it's meant for a younger audience, it was just a really cute series. So I didn't feel like there was any wasted time with it. You know, everything was just really good, and it was one that I didn't feel like I got tired out, or I felt like any of the stuff was really like too dumbed down for a kid. So it was spectacular. I'll just tell you that it was pretty good. I do like some of the jokes in it, and I like how they do have another one. It's another robot, and I don't know exactly how it is, but it has like arms and legs, and it's a trash bag, or like a shopping bag. I think he's actually on the back of one of these. Yeah, he's right here. And he's also one of these robots like them, because they're all recycled robots. And you'll see him, and like the wind will blow really hard, and he'll blow away, and you're like, you'd think because he has some robot parts in him that he would actually be sturdier than that. But out of the robot parts in him, he's only got like 3, and they're not even anything, you know, that help him out. So let's see. Then we have this one. This is another one, like I said, recently on my shelf. This is Ultimo. This is one, guys, I like it. I love that Stan Lee, rest his soul, helped do this. The time jump aspect was something that I felt was totally ruined on it. The ending story was really good for the explanation of what it was supposed to be for, but the time stuff, I did not like that. So, and it is a fairly big series. There are a lot of people like up in the corner there that supported this one. And it is one of the few, this one, and there's another one called Hero Man that Stan Lee actually helped make. So that's really cool. Especially because Stan Lee is like one of my heroes. So and I feel like this one, I feel like they should have played this one off more like Basilisk, where everybody kind of fought to try and do stuff and they died in the end, I guess. Letting you know, like, even though everything's supposed to be like this weird equality, because it's kind of like without evil you can't have good, which is a storyline that's been around for ages. But I hate how they went about it, doing all this other stuff and trying to tell your story off of that. I think that's where it kind of shot itself in the foot, which is I hate. Let's see, then we have these ones. This is LBX, or Little Battle Experience. This is kind of like if you made a little Gunpla and it could actually move and fight. This is a pretty good one, but I felt like it was kind of like Metabots, which, don't get me wrong, I love Metabots. Love it. But it was kind of like if Metabee, after like every second fight, ended up changing his armor like altogether. Not changing and swapping out one of the arms or something, changing everything. And that's kind of what I hated about it, is that I felt like they changed the character too much from what he originally was, and it happened all the time. He goes through like, it's 6 volumes. He makes like 4 or 5 transformations into a different suit because he got different parts, and it was just kind of like, when is it not going to happen? Like, when is he going to stay with it and move forward? Never really did it, so that's kind of what was upsetting about it. But because I could see the series get extended out just because they left that suit on him for so long. Maybe something happened to it and then they brought the new one in. That would be great, but they didn't do that. So, and we are nearing the end of the box. We have this one. This is Trigun, multiple bullets. Really good. One of the different Trigun series you can get into that is excelente. And then we have this one, which is by the same person that did Fullmetal Alchemist. What else have they done? The Heroic Legend of Arslan. I think that's everything that I have on my shelves from them. But they also did this one. This is Hero Tell, or Hero Tells. And I mean, you could tell, too, just beautiful artwork. If you ask me, the one that they're doing right now for Arslan, totally feels like a mixture between Hero Tells and between Fullmetal Alchemist. But they're also doing Silver Spoon right now, so I know that kind of slowed them down on the other one. Here's another comparison, guys. You can tell how big the last volume is compared to even volume 4. But a lot of good stuff, guys, we covered. This is all phenomenal stuff. I highly enjoy reading or I highly enjoyed reading all of this. There's just so much. There's so much manga. And I think that being one of the big advocates for it, especially as much as I've read and still read, that there are just so much good things about it as far as what it can do, what it can help you with. Some people don't feel comfortable reading, and I feel like with manga, when you're reading it, it can also pick up and help you out. Just because of how much stuff it relates to, how much stuff is there to enjoy. I mean, you can't really, I feel like, go wrong with anything when there's just so much manga for you to enjoy. I mean, there's so much. And a lot of this stuff does come highly recommended because it is that good. And there's just, I don't know, there's just a ton of stuff that you can do with it. I feel like, I went from reading novels to doing all this other stuff. I didn't before, and if you ask my parents, maybe I'll have to get my dad to do a video with me one time. I didn't like to read. I actually was in like resource classes for a while because I didn't read, and then a lot of people didn't think anything about it. Just kind of like I was going to be one of those kids that I guess was a failure. My little sister's going to watch this and be like, that's totally true. You still are. No, I don't know. But you have this whole thing with that. And so like for me, when I was doing this, somebody actually told my parents, like, hey, maybe you should get him tested, all this other stuff. And so I remember going to it. I had to go see this lady, and they sat me down and tested me on all this different stuff. And she was like, no, your son's actually very intelligent. He's actually like above average and everything. In some parts he's even more than that. It's just, I don't think he's being tested enough in school. Or not tested, but I'm not being challenged enough. And so there was different stuff like that. I had different people tell me like, hey, you should read this, you should do that. And like my stepmom and my grandma and other people in my family, like, oh, hey, you should do this, you should do that, maybe I'll give you a reward for doing it. I mean, different stuff. And it kind of got me into doing that. I read part of the Harry Potter series, part of the Lord of the Rings series, a bunch of stuff, almost all of the series of Unfortunate Event series and stuff. And so that wasn't very long. Then after that, I ended up getting into manga, which you guys know about that. And that kind of opened up this whole other door of stuff. and I was going in between reading novels and reading manga to not really reading novels at all anymore when I finally went to college, because there was so much that you had to study for that I felt like I would go home and study, and then I would look at the textbook, and then I would look at this other book that I would have that was a chapter book, and I'd be like, I can't do it. Can't read it. It doesn't interest me right now. And it would happen so much that obviously, you know, I turned and started reading more manga, so I decided, well, if I'm in a semester of school, I'm not going to read novels at all because I'm not going to be able to read it and enjoy it and stuff. So that kind of is where it left me on that, as far as it went, reading manga majority of the time and then actually getting into it and reading it all the time, besides other certain books. I like inspirational books or discipline books, stuff like that. I have some of those, like Miyamoto Musashi. After reading Vagabond, I read Miyamoto Musashi's Book of Five Rings, which is a samurai book, you know, for grounding yourself. The Way of the Bow, Yagyu Minanore, which is he gets mentioned in Vagabond. I don't know if you actually get to see him. I think you do. But he was another guy. He's got one called the Sword in the Mind. And then there's some other ones, you know, that I read a lot of, and it was ones that were for that, you know, inspirational self-help kind of, which I feel like anybody should read those, because not self-help, I feel like self-help is a negative one, but anything that kind of disciplines you a little more, I think helps you in the long run. The Art of War, I know some people, that's probably the bigger one that I've read that a lot of people read. But it's kind of all how you take it, and I think reading certain ones like that actually helped me out. Some of the other like bigger manga tubers, I don't feel like they've read any of those, because like with The Art of War, when you're reading it, The Art of War is very dry. I'll just tell you that. The Art of War is very dry. And The Art of War actually tells you a bunch of like scenarios on how you as a person are supposed to be faced with a certain situation. One of them is like the golden rules. The golden rules of it being like, always keep the sun at your back. Always do this. Always do that. Da, da, da. And it's supposed to help you in a fight. I mean, that's why it was originally made, was for if you were going to get in a fight with somebody. But looking at it, diving into it, the big thing that helps you out is looking at it from the instance of where you're the enemy. You yourself are your own biggest enemy, which, I mean, we've all heard stuff like that before, right? Correct? Yeah. But the big thing with it is when you hear different things like that, and you move forward with it, this is you finding out how to defeat yourself whenever you're sitting there in a certain mindset. Just like, I feel like we're getting deeper than what we should on this Manga Vault video. But anyway, like with depression, you know, whenever you do that, obviously nobody made you depressed, anything like that. It's you, and you are the person that factors into it. And I have depression, obviously. A lot of people do. but it's one of those things that I don't let get me down or whatever because of that. Knowing that, hey, it's just me, there's another day, there's time to fix whatever it is. I might feel like crap in the moment, but there's always a way through it. So, I always like inspirational quotes and stuff as well, too. One of them is from Maya Angelou, which is always be a rainbow in somebody's cloud, which that refers to like a thundercloud. Whenever they feel upset, you can always be something that somewhat brightens their day. Doesn't happen all the time, but and I feel like a lot of that stuff is kind of what makes up me. So there's just a lot of different stuff. So even though we kind of went on a little tangent after this, anybody that does watch this video, I'm sure you guys will be like, this little extra 7 minutes or whatever at the end of this is pretty inspirational. So anyway though, guys, I will catch you guys later. Thanks. And hey, I might actually do that. I might make a little inspirational thing for you guys. So anyway, comment down below if you think that too. Also comment if you are still enjoying this series. So anyway, I'm Jen Graves. I'll catch you later. Bye.